But you were part of you were a part of the situation with Gongu and Liza, though. I mean, you at least you're close to Gongu, so you know the situation that happened with Liza and how that lawsuit unfolded and what was discovered, right?
Yeah. The only thing is, me, I'm telling you what I would have did. If I would have had any conflict with a situation like that, I would have made sure the kids, no matter what, would have been all right. Like I would have had something on the side for the kids. Even if I would have put 30,000 a piece in the trust fund and it grew so they got a certain age from when the time they were young when he passed away to the time they get 21 or something. Something for the kids. That dispute between you and their moms, y'all older people, and it trickled down to the kids where everybody else suffered. So when I'm coming into the situation, it was like heartbreaking. I said, she in the shelter. What the fuck? Nah, fam. All right. I know somebody that can help you. She probably thought it was a fucking lie because look how many lawyers she was in front of. I paid lawyers and shit, and nothing came out of it. So it looked like I'm just talking. And you see what came out of it, but so nobody expected
But
Joe to be stealing.
I see what you're saying,
But
though.
when
I see.
wait, hold up, because then I'm hearing about the Remy contract with Tony and Remy in that situation, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy right there. That's crazy. Um, but allegedly, but his paperwork is but allegedly that they were sold for a small price with convincing Liza that they wasn't really worth nothing and they um something with the publishing or something they wasn't worth anything. So she didn't know the game and gave them up for a small price. And then I heard they re-signed underneath another contract.
I see what you're saying, that, the issues between Joe and Liza has nothing to do with Pun's kids because they're innocent in the situation, right? But at the same time, I don't think that anybody was asking Joe to go out of his own pockets to really give anything to Pun's family. It was just more of like, give them what they're owed. You know what I'm saying? So if that man is owed money from his royalties, you have to give it to his family regardless of how you feel about her. And even if she's going to blow it or whatever,
Right.
that's still their money regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no justification really for you to take the money that is supposed to be their family.
That situation is real. It's a real messy situation. It's a messy situation. Um, but did anybody interview Jellybean?
Jellybean, I don't think will do any interviews. I don't think Jellybean will do any interviews because when you think about it,
so this is
when you think about it though, right? How many years has Joe gone and blamed Jellybean, and Jellybean has never said a single word though? And I think that that's just the situation that people miss out on, is that
yeah. So because I don't know, man. If when go break it down,
I think that ideally we would like to hear Jellybean's side.
yeah, because that's the missing link. Then you can have a little more judgment on what actually is taking place when hearing his side of it, because he's being accused. Not saying this, but he could be intimidated. Like, you know what took place, shut the fuck up. If you say anything, blah, 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 blah. It could be intimidated and not saying other things. So I always think of both sides. I'm not gonna just think of one scenario. Like, are you serious? Are you like, come on?
But he was offered the option to join in and on Liza's team during the court, right? But he declined that. But what I'm going to ask you this though, okay? We know Joe's reputation, right? Joe's reputation.
Who was?
Jellybean was offered the option to join Liza and go against Joe, and he declined. And also, Joe was pointing the finger at Jellybean, and Liza offered Joe the option to join her and go against Jellybean, and he declined. He said that he was going to go back to Florida and handle it legally there, but he never did. So you see what I'm saying? They both were.
All right, protocol. Who the money goes to first? Protocol. Who the money goes to
Jellybean first, and he takes his 20.
Who the money goes to first?
It goes to Jellybean, and he takes his 25% and gives the rest to Joe. He has no obligation to give the money to Liza's family.
When you say the rest to Joe, when you say the rest, wait, hold on. When you say the rest to Joe, why does Jellybean Benitez give Pun half with Joe half to Joe instead of holding Pun half and giving Joe just his half and making sure that half go to Pun's wife?
Ideally, that's how the contract would have been drawn up, but the contract wasn't drawn up that way. The contract was drawn up so that they have no obligation to Pun's family. They have to look to Joe to receive their payment. And when you read the court transcripts, and I broke down the court transcripts, the Jellybean's own lawyer says this. He says that we have no obligation to the pursuant. They have to look to Cartagena for their payment. And even if they don't get paid by Cartagena, they can't look to us for anything. We have no obligation to them. The judge himself was mind blown by this, and he was all like, how is this even an actual thing? Do you see what I'm saying? What kind of deal is that?
No, because then, damn, yo. Nah, because then it all would go, all right, this is two things that could happen. Jellybean could be cutting both of them short. Damn, that's like, Joe gets both money. He's responsible to distribute it. That case was crazy. So, wow.
Yo, but the thing is though, right, is like they were both in on it because
somebody's in a cookie jar.
Right, they were both in on it because Jellybean was making those false royalty statements. He was saying, "Oh, you only owe 80,000 in 2004."
That's
then
what I'm just not.
Year, it's all the way up to 400,000 until Pun. It's like that's crazy, bro. Like, I get it. I know you want to be fair about it, but when you read those court transcripts, bro, it's really hard. That's why I get frustrated with fans because I'm like, the evidence is there. It's not like just putting false allegations on that man. You know what I'm saying?
Because the fans is not the fans is not going to go that far reading it, and it's a nightmare to a fan. You saying the word fan. So if it was just the people, you're saying fan. So a fan, that's a superhero.
Right.
So a fan don't want you to break down a superhero. A fan, like, nah, you bugging. That's my boy. He wasn't.
But that's the problem with our society, though, bro. That's the problem with our society, right? Is we put people on pedestals and we idolize celebrities and we think that they're incapable of being human and doing messed up things or making mistakes just like us regular people. And that's just not true, bro. That's why you have to be an objective fan, that you can still enjoy this person's art, what they do, but realize that they're capable of being human too.
Yeah. Arguments come about when it get vindictive. People want revenge, and all that certain things. So anything can happen.
Yeah, man.
Anything can take place. But it's sad.
It is,
Well,
bro. It definitely is.
summing it all up, it came it came out in the open. Who's in the cookie jar?
Though they both were.
Huh?
They both were.
Copy that.
I mean, because you don't lose. You know, Joe's not just going to sign
Well,
over the rights to Pun for no reason. All of his, rights to his royalties and everything like that. And Jellybean ended up having to make a large payment too.